Hi guys, Vino here and welcome to this Vino Plunk production, and I think this video is going to be a bit of a kickback discussion because there's some things I want to talk about in this video that are maybe a bit more serious than simply just a vlog. So I do have a cup of tea, or cup of coffee rather, with me that I will be sipping on to wet the whistle and what have you. But in this video I do want to touch upon a couple of things. One experience I've experienced for the last week or so with two different companies that I will be talking about, and then I'll be talking about something else that I've kind of become aware of over the last few hours that I want to also maybe address. And it's something that's been circulating in my mind for quite some time now, and I've wanted to address this and talk about this on a video. Before I go any further guys, if you do like my content then please hit the subscribe button, please hit the like button, and if you do subscribe, hit the bell icon, make sure the quotations are around it and you receive a notification to every device of your choosing about my videos every time they upload. So that's the call to actions out the way. Let's get to the main meat and potatoes of this video. And the first thing I want to talk about is Amazon, as well as another company called Gamevo. So we'll talk about Amazon first, and then we'll talk about Gamevo, because Gamevo is a bit of a different story. Plus I actually fucked up a little bit when it comes to them. So we'll talk about Amazon. So I bought a Xbox Elite Series 2 controller from them on a payment plan. And after a couple of days of receiving the item, it started getting an intermittent fault in which it would disconnect from the Xbox. The Xbox logo on the controller would flash along with the one on the Xbox, and after about 2 or 3 minutes they'd sync back up and they'd be fine. It would do that and once it did it the first time, it would do it every few minutes. It was infuriating. I managed to solve the issue by plugging in the USB-C lead for a few minutes, and then the problem would go away and then come back a few days later, but that was a way of rectifying the problem. So what I did, I contacted Amazon Web Chat, and long story short, a manager partially refunded me £36.24, which is 20% of the value of an Xbox Elite Series 2 controller. So they said to me that would go back to my payment card. They even gave the last 4 digits of the payment card. So I was expecting to come back to my payment card. Now, whenever I get a refund from eBay, from Amazon, from anywhere, it normally goes through midnight the next day. It really is that quick. By midnight the next day, it's gone through. So if I was to get a refund right now, which is the early hours of Sunday morning, it would go through by midnight Monday or midnight Tuesday, depending on which way you look at it. It would gone through by then. All is good. So after a couple of days, checked my bank, hadn't come through yet. So I then decided to check my Amazon account, only to find that the £36.24 had been applied to the last 2 months of the payment plan, or payment instalments. So the way a payment instalment works on Amazon is you pay in 5 monthly installments. They take the total price of the item, break it down to 5 months, and then you pay 5 months worth of it, and after that point the item's yours, what have you. Because I got the item on payment plan, they applied the £36.24, despite me being promised by a Amazon manager, no less, that it would go back to my card. That was extremely infuriating in more ways than one, because I was expecting that £36.24 to come back to my bank account. So I was then told by another manager that they're going to have a word with that manager about getting all of that sorted. While I was really pissed off and frustrated with that particular issue, it gets worse. As of Thursday last week, as of Wednesday actually last week, the rubber that coats the Xbox Series 2 Elite controller started deteriorating is the best way I can describe it. There's a streak that goes from the Xbox logo down to the bottom of the controller on the front of the face, and just it feels sticky, and there was some residue on the right thumbstick that I wiped off just before going to bed on Wednesday. Woke up Thursday, picked up the controller, the residue was back there again, and it sort of discoloured the right thumbstick. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to organise a return, and then get it back to Amazon and get my money back. So I decided to do that. Sent the item back on Thursday. Within about half an hour of sending it back, I then got confirmation that they issued the refund, and I should be getting back that soon. I then, when the refund did come through to my bank, only received back £29. I should receive back £65.24, which is the first month's payment plan, which was £29. Because when you order the item and it dispatches, the first month acts as a down payment, if you will. And I should have also received the £36.24 they applied to the last 2 months. I've been on and off the phone from Amazon the last few days, on their web chat the last few days, and they keep saying to me the same thing. Oh, we've refunded it, we've refunded it, refunded it. The reason why I'm recounting this story is along the way, I've been told several different things. I keep being told Amazon associates are trained to a high degree, yet every single time I've dealt with them over the last couple of weeks, they've been absolutely clueless. That manager that said to me that I was going to be paid back on my payment card even gave me the last 4 digits of my payment card. It never came back to my payment card. As far as I'm concerned, you know, the fact they are trained to a high standard means nothing to me now, and it really has infuriated me quite a bit, and I really hope I do get that money, that extra £36.24 back from them. I will be contacting my bank on Monday, asking them if there's a trace on the system of that money. If there's not, then Amazon are going to get one hell of a phone call from me. I can tell you that much. But I was not impressed with that in any way, shape or form, and was told complete lies actually from various members of staff, including a manager, which just did not go down with me. Now we move on to a company called Gamevo. So Gamevo, I would say at this point, is a bit of a questionable website where you can get game codes from. There are many of these websites out there, from G2A to Gamevo to CD Keys. I'm not necessarily going to recommend you go to these websites. If you do want to buy any keys from this website, please make it be known they use nefarious means to get hold of the keys. The biggest way they use to get hold of these keys is they basically pester companies like Ubisoft, like EA, like Activision for review codes, and then they take those review codes and sell them on that site. They may buy codes in a different region at a different price and then sell them at a different currency to get the currency, you know, value that way. They use nefarious means. The biggest one in this is G2A. They are well known for using nefarious means to get hold of these keys. However, I'm not going to, you know, go around on the fact that they do provide very cheap keys. I've used CD Keys on many occasions to get some very cheap games. The same with G2A. I've used them myself. So, you know, they're out there. They're to be used. I just want people to be, you know, consumers to be knowledgeable and intelligent and know what certain companies do, so you can make an informed decision. If you don't really care how they get a hold of the keys, you just care about the fact you're getting a game or what have you for a cheap price, then that's entirely up to you. It's your prerogative at the end of the day. So I decided to go through this site called Gamevo, because on Hot UK Deals they were basically saying that you can get a Elden Ring key for £30, give or take. So I decided to do that, and then when I went to redeem the key, it was an Argentinian key. Now, at this point, I'm going to confess that I didn't read the instructions properly. What you're supposed to do is buy the key. Then when you go into the Microsoft website to claim it, because I didn't say it was an Xbox key, You then switch your region using a VPN to Argentina, claim the key, and then you can install it on your, whatever region Xbox you have, whether it's a US, UK, doesn't really matter, it will just apply it to your account. And away you go. I'd actually completely, misread that. So I went through Gamevo to try and get a refund. It's taken them over a week to finally give me the refund. And when they finally did give me the refund, they offered me credit. Also, the other thing about Gamevo, which there's a large chunk of payment options they offer, in which over half of them, if you pay using that method, you can't get your money back, as in a full refund back to your card. Now, they did offer me, after a little bit of back and forth, a full refund back to my card, but I don't trust them to do that refund, to be completely honest with you. So what I decided to do is they offered me Gamevo credit back to my account. I took that, I rebought an Elden Ring key, and then followed the instructions properly, and I've bought Elden Ring. That's actually quite pertinent to what I'm about to talk about in a moment. But yeah, I still can't believe they really dragged their heels on it. Basically, they had to wait until the key that I originally bought was resold, and then when it was resold, they had to wait 48 hours to see if the new buyer had any problems, and then offer me a refund. The other thing about it, though, they waited every single moment till I responded back to them. If I didn't respond back to them, they never got back to me. They never proactive. They were only reactive in their responses. Yeah, wouldn't necessarily recommend Gamevo. If you want to use them, go right ahead, but their customer service is definitely questionable. Probably just as questionable as their practices for acquiring game keys. Anyway, moving on to the subject of Elden Ring. So when Elden Ring launched, it had some problems on the PC. I don't know whether it's still got those problems on the PC. I've got the Xbox One version, I think. Although, of course, because I've got it digitally, it automatically updates it or upgrades it to the Xbox Series X or S version. That's the version I'm playing. I haven't had any problems with it in terms of performance, so, So, when the performance issues of Elden Ring started popping up all over the place, I haven't had it at work. A colleague was sort of talking to me, going, what do you think of these performance issues when it comes to Elden Ring? Is would you buy a game in that state, blah, blah, blah. And to me, I know how difficult it is to develop a game. I listen to podcasts, I immerse myself in the gaming community. So I know from, first-hand accounts from game developers how hard it is to program and develop a game. And as a result from that, maybe I'm more lenient than some people. But there are many different layers to what's going on with Elden Ring. The first problem is people are getting really shitty about the fact it should run perfectly on, their systems. I mean, yes, you should expect a game to run the best it can run on your system, but even the most well-programmed, well-made game in the world is still going to have performance issues every so often. It's just the fact of the matter. And I completely forgot to put my phone on silent, so I do apologise for that. But yeah, people don't understand how difficult it is to make a game, especially at the moment where developers are trying to bridge the gap between the previous generation, this generation, keep everybody still happy, have it running on the old hardware, good, have it running on the new hardware, good. It's really is a juggling act in terms of that. Even Forbidden West, Horizon Forbidden West has some performance issues. Yeah, I don't hear anybody ranting and raving about those performance issues. People only seem to be ranting about the Elden Ring performance issues. So that's the first problem. The second problem is the fact it got a perfect 10. A lot of places scored Elden Ring a perfect 10, and there's so many people out there that are like, it shouldn't have gotten a 10 because this reason, that reason, or that reason. The main reason is people don't like the design of Elden Ring. So Elden Ring is the next in the long series of Soulsborne games. You had Demon Souls way back on the PlayStation 3. You then had Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3. You then had Bloodborne on the PlayStation 4. All well-received games, but they were cult games, they were niche games, they weren't necessarily for the masses. Elden Ring's the first game from Software that's gotten as mass appeal as one of those games has gotten. The Soulsborne games are known as being rock hard, as being brutal, not holding you by the hand, just putting you in the world and going, look, you can enjoy the world. There are no objective markers. There are no, you should do this, you should do that. And that's how an Elden Ring basically takes all those games, mashes them together, and gives you an open world that has all different elements of those various games. By the way, I've played Elden Ring for about 2 or 3 hours now. It's an amazing game, in my opinion. You know, I just put it out there to give my opinion of the game quickly. But there are a large portion of the fan base and the non-fan base that believe that it shouldn't have gotten the perfect 10 it gotten of. On the flip side, there are some people, some entities didn't give it the perfect 10. They give it an 8 or a 9. Still a very respectable score, in my opinion, and they got absolutely flamed because of it. I've spoken about the whole, you know, if someone expects a game to get a 10, it doesn't get a 10, and they feel pissed off as a result of that, you got to look at yourself. I've said this in previous videos, but you need to really look at yourself if that's the kind of thing you're getting pissed off over. By IGN's own score system, any game above a 6 is considered good. Even a 5 or a 6 is like, it's a good game, but there's some massive caveats, and anything below a 5 is probably like, you might want to avoid this unless this, you know, game might appeal to you in some way, shape or form. So even from IGN's own scoring system, you've got 4 more steps on the ladder from 10 down to 6, or even 5 steps if you want to include anything above 5 as a good game on the ladder. And also the way IGN review their games is they give them an 8 point something or a 9 point something. So they could have given, you know, it's an 8.5, that's, you know, only half a score less than, or sorry, a 9.5, which is only half a score less than other places. I don't personally understand it. You know, if you're expecting a game to get a 10 and it gets an 8, that's still a bloody good game. You know, it's still a bloody good game. It doesn't make it a bad game just because it didn't get a perfect 10. Even if you're not expecting the game to get a perfect 10, you know, even a game getting a 7 is still a good game. You know, I never have understood this whole, you know, community surrounding review scores. The other thing that's also unfortunately happening is developers from Ubisoft and Guerrilla respectively have been shitting upon the game because of its design and the fact that it doesn't have quest markers all over the place, doesn't have you know. And what I want to say to those people is basically shut the fuck up, to be honest with you. Is because when it comes to open world games, especially Ubisoft open world games, they've gotten so formulaic, so cookie cutter, so like, here's a point on the map, go here, you walk into this area, there are a million points on the map, you have to do all of these. They've become so cookie cutter. Not they're necessarily bad games, but Elden Ring takes a different approach to that, and this is the Soulsborne way of doing things. It doesn't hold your hand, it doesn't lead you down the garden path, it leads you by the nose, what have you. It just puts you in a world and lets you explore, which I love it for that. And maybe I'm more attuned to that because of Elite Dangerous. Elite Dangerous is probably one of my favourite games of all time. Unfortunately, at the moment, I can't play it due to the computer I'm using at the moment isn't handling it very well, and I'd love to carry on playing it. But Elite Dangerous doesn't really hold your hand that either. Just puts you in a world and goes, you can explore this vast galaxy that's a one-to-one recreation of our own star system. Off you go. Yeah, Elden Ring does the same, and there are people that are just like, you know, why doesn't it allow you to put an objective marker on the map? Why doesn't it allow you to do this or do that or this? Because it's a different game. It's not your game. It's not Horizon Forbidden West. It's not Far Cry 300 million one. Yeah, it's a different kind of game. It's not going to be for everybody, despite the fact it's gotten massive world, you know, all around success, much more wider success it has before. But it's not those games, so don't try and make it those games. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, guys. Bit of a ranty one, this one, but I just wanted to say a few things about some stuff that's been going on and just get them onto a video. There will be a video tomorrow, maybe a bit more of an upbeat video than this one. But until next time, guys, please take care and enjoy the rest of your day. Ta-ra.